we are staring at a technology that has huge potential, that can potentially impact millions of individuals around the world.
Electrobiology for patients with neurological injuries has really gone by the wayside until the technology that SpineX and Reggie and Parag have developed.
That's a huge attraction and a huge advantage for this company, is that we are actually have two products that are treating unmet medical needs.
We've been thinking about this for about 55 years. And we've gotten to this point. It's built on science. It was not built on guesses.
SpineX as a company came into being. The initial idea was seeded in late 2017 when we realized the need for a technology, need for a device of this kind outside of a lab, outside of a clinic. Evgeny came into the picture around the same time when we were doing some of our studies, and I was looking for a urologist. Surprisingly, Evgeny was looking for a research project. So this was a perfect marriage made in heaven. So Reggie and us started working together and realized the applications, and here we are today.
I had always been interested in how the nervous system interacts with the lower urinary tract, how it interacts with the bladder. And around the same time, Reggie and Parag were working on improving bladder function in patients with paralysis. And they were looking for a urologist, and I was looking for somebody who had expertise in bladder recovery after neurological injury. So there was a natural alliance.
We need to realize that the spinal cord is smart, and it has the ability to control function. It has the ability to work independent of the brain. One of the impacts that a neurological disorder renders the spinal cord with is all the communication is now muted. SpineX's technology essentially works like a hearing aid. It amplifies some of these weak signals that are present and allows the brain to hear what the periphery is saying, and allows the muscles to hear what the brain wants it to do. So the ability to amplify some of these signals and cut out the background noise is the base method through which SpineX's technology functions.
I can see how the patient would come in several times a week, have this device put on, and receive stimulation. And fortunately, because this is completely non-invasive, a physician or even a mid-level provider does not need to be involved. It can be a medical assistant, it can be a nurse, it can be any provider in a clinic that can apply this device. I hope to make this available to as many patients as possible and to be able to deliver the stimulation as frequently as it's convenient for the patient.
Scone as a product came into being based on two simple factors. The first, that spinal neuromodulation as a technology has an impact on urological function, and this includes bladder, bowel, and sexual function. And the second being that improvement in bladder, bowel, and sexual function are very high priorities for individuals with neurological dysfunction. So far, we have worked with over 30 individuals with chronic paralysis and demonstrated improvement in function, ranging from reduction in incontinence episodes by over 70%, reduction in urgency and frequency to use the restroom, improvement in sensation. These improvements have significant consequences to improvement in quality of life, for not just for themselves, but also for their loved ones around them. Where we are today with Scone is it's currently undergoing a multi-center clinical trial for FDA registration, and we're hoping and we believe that Scone will be on the market by early 2025. Once Scone is available on the market and individuals start to receive Scone therapy, we believe the quality of life will report improvement on multiple fronts, including reduced costs associated with managing the bladder, reduced diaper use, reduced medications, the ability to actually go back to work, the ability to live their life more normally and not have to plan their day around their bladder. Skip, our second product, is based on the same platform technology as Scone, but addressing a completely different unmet clinical need, which is movement disorders in children living with cerebral palsy. It's based on the same central idea that neuromodulation or spinal neuromodulation is acting like a hearing aid. In children living with cerebral palsy, the communication between the brain, spine, and muscles is disrupted. Skip allows these signals to be amplified, essentially like a hearing aid, and cut out all the background noise. Thereby, children that are living with cerebral palsy can move in a more effective and functional manner completely voluntarily. We believe SCIP is going to be a game changer for children and their families living with cerebral palsy. For a child that otherwise is able to move but falls frequently and has a much slower development, SCIP allows them to have better and more normal gait cycle and is able to walk more normally. While these changes may seem small and trivial, the long-term effects on this is going to be huge, with fewer complications, fewer musculoskeletal issues, as well as fewer surgeries needed in the long term. These improvements could range from just being able to sit upright or hold your neck up or actually roll around on a mat for a child with a level 5 CP versus being able to actually walk upstairs without external support, being able to play with your peers for a child with a level 1 CP. Each of these has a significant impact on not just the quality of life, but also their overall development.
With the transcutaneous technology that we have here, the risk is just so low and the benefit is so potentially huge. I think that with this technology, we're again just scratching the surface of restoring sensation in addition to restoring motor function. And I think that's just so critical, right? There's really nothing besides neuromodulation that can do that.
It's a golden opportunity, and it's an exciting time looking ahead that within 2 years we're going to have 2 products registered with the US FDA and other geographies potentially. Unlike other approaches, I think there's really solid clinical data that's backing what we're doing. And second is we have really understood what a patient requires to bring these products to market.
Most companies in this space at this stage don't have clinical data, convincing clinical data. You're definitely in the minority, in the very small minority of companies that are bringing a technology to unmet medical needs in this area.
What kind of evidence would be critical for the company to be collecting for this technology to be acceptable?
Show me medical necessity. And in fact, that's how we're structuring our clinical studies, is showing that it works, it's safe.
I think having a clean IP with the freedom to operate in these 2 indications and potentially others really puts us in a strong position to be market leaders in the neuromodulation space, not just for the near-term future, but also for the next 5 to 10 years.
Even with individuals that have some of the severest dysfunctions, we have evidence that they're responding to the neuromodulation that we're using. And when you see the responses of the parents, and you can see just that what appears to be a small change is a huge change. This is why it's also easy to be so optimistic about what is going to be possible in the future.